welcome! This character profile video is for the class Destroyer. And what you'll see in this video is all of his skills, the top 8 PVE and PVP skills that I recommend, his enhancements, his player card, and a gameplay video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and show you the class Destroyer. Here we go. Okay, if you are new to this slide for my character profile video, allow me to introduce the interface to you. On the far left are all of his skills. On the far right are the specials that go with these skills. And then the next column from skill is charges. That's how many times you can use the skill. And then the next column is hits, how many times that skill can hit your creature or opponent. The next column, damage-PVE, is the highest percentage damage for that skill versus creatures in the world. And then the next column, damage-PVP, is the highest percentage damage versus other players. So I want to call your attention to a few things that while you're looking at this screen. Is in red under specials it says super armor. The legend at the bottom means that the super armor will not work in Arena or Raminis. So be aware of that, and we'll talk more about what you can do with that for the PvP section. But there's that, and there's also why is certain things in the skill column colored green. That's because they connect with the passive skill at the very bottom, where the additional effects apply to those skills that are highlighted in green. It's just about all of them, so this makes the Destroyer someone to pay attention to, because his passive has lots of coverage for so much he can do. So take a moment to look at all the skills, and when you're ready, we'll move on to the top 8 PvE skills that I recommend. Here we go. And welcome to the PvE slide. So the way this works is I took all the skills and I organized it under the column of damage-PVE. From top to bottom is the highest damage to the lowest. And of course, Carnal Rage is your heal, so there's not going to be any damage there, and it is the lowest. So anyway, looking at this, you want to pay attention to the fact that Funeral Blast is your hardest hitting skill, but also notice the amount of hits that each skill does. So even though I didn't highlight it in green, pay attention to Slugfest. It is 400% damage that hits 8 times. This is the highest amount of hits that he can do, unless you enhance him further and they allow it, but that's 33,200 if all 8 hits connect. I believe I did my math right there. So consider that in your rotation of skills when you're fighting creatures out there and you just want to finish that fight quick. Think about Slugfest. So take a moment to look at the skills for the PvE, and when you're ready, we'll go to the top 8 PvP skills that I recommend. Here we go. And welcome to the PvP slide. So the way this works is the same as the PvE. I organized it from top to bottom under the column of damage-PVP, and as you can see, Funeral Blast still remains your hardest hitting. However, you remember what I just said a second ago about Slugfest, so think about that. But when it comes to the people out there who love to do PvP, it's all about super armor and what else you can do to your opponent. So you guys are very lucky that your hardest hitting one has super armor that does apply in Arena and Raminis and everywhere else in the game, and it knocks your opponent up, and it allows you to do an additional attack with your cannonball. Don't really see that very often, but Funeral Blast is a very nice starter move in your rotation of skills to get super armor going. And then you can probably, while they're knocked up, you can go back to Slugfest and get those 8 hits in, and then come back to, say, maybe do Bombardment next because it hits really hard, and then switch back to Funeral Blast and just rotate all those so you get your super armor in. If you feel, I want a little variety in my attacks, you got plenty to choose from. So take a moment to look at the PvP skill slide, and when you're ready, we'll go ahead and show you his enhancements. Here we go. So I'll be honest with you and say that this is the first time while putting together his enhancements for this character that it seemed like he just wasn't overloaded or stacked or anything like the other ones, especially not like Titan was or many other classes to choose from. But what he does have does help and does count. So if you're new to this slide, on the far left are all his skills, on the far right are all the branch damages that go to those skills and or connect to, and the center, if you're new, allow me to explain, the first, second, and fourth column is things that do something for you. The third column is something that happens to the person you're attacking, or the creature or person. So what I'm noticing that he has is he's got his burns, and he's got his additional attack, and he's got a flow. These are enhancements you unlock to do another layer of damage to what you're fighting. So he's got what he has, including his passive that helps, and this is the second or third thing that's on top of all of that. And as you can see, he's got some MP cost reductions and increases targets that he hits. So it really is to your benefit to, if you enjoy this character, unlock all those enhancements, work at it, get them all unlocked, and you'll just see him blossom and kick some serious butt. I mean, he's really cool. He's got a cannon for a weapon. One thing to point out is in the top right corner for Slugfest where it says heal. The reason the word heal is colored differently is because when you put this character in Path of Glory, haha, he can heal himself, this is great. No, that means that when he's in there, he will not heal himself. But everywhere else in the game world, yes, he will, per hit. So take a moment to look at the enhancements, and when you're ready, we'll go to the player card. Here we go. And welcome to the player card. So this is meant to be like a baseball card. It is all of the slides you already saw summed up on one screen and something added to it. So allow me to introduce it to you. At the very top are the top 8 PVE and PVP skills that I recommend, and to the right of that is what's new. It's called Immobilization, and what it means is anything that knocks your opponent down, knocks them up, stuns, freeze, or bound, anything like that immobilizes your opponent because it takes time for them to get up and get ready and get back into the fight. And normally when that happens, your opponent can get 2 or 3 hits in on you, and that could really determine the course of the fight in their favor. So looking at the immobilization, it looks like more than, God, I'd honestly say that all of his skills, except for Iron Buster Mastery, which is the basic skill for using his cannon, and Carnal Rage, which is his heal, every single thing has an immobilization. However, for Flame Buster, the reason why it's colored green and red, the green is because it's connected to the passive skill, so that you can see that, and the red indicates it is for knockback. Now, I don't consider knockback in immobilization because I feel that the animation happens so fast, you get knocked back and you can move and get out of there. So you may be lucky if you can get in another hit or 2 hits in when they're knocked back. So that's why it's colored in red, just to show you there is something that will stun them. But as far as the others that really allow you to get in an extra hit, not really for Flame Buster. So that's immobilization, and it looks like Slugfest, we've been talking about that skill for this whole video, has 2 immobilizations. So wow, that's your bread and butter right there if I ever saw it. So below all of this is the skills that you saw, and then below that is the enhancements. And if you've been wondering what is super armor and maybe forward guard, which I haven't really talked about, the definitions of those things as well as the legend for not applied in Path of Glory and not applied in Arena is at the bottom. So I'm going to take a moment to read you what forward guard means. This means incoming damage will either be 0 or heavily reduced. If you are going up against someone who has forward guard on, you're not going to do any damage to them. They're just going to stand there and take the hits until they see an opening, and then it's all them on you. So if you get behind them or to the sides, you can get around that forward guard and do some damage. But for them, nope, no damage. Super armor, this is the bread and butter also for PvP people. They cycle it so that it's always on as best they can. And this means incoming damage will be reduced, and the effects that immobilize you, like stun, knockdown, freeze, etc., will not happen for a duration of time. So while you're trying to immobilize them, they're trying not to get immobilized. This is why super armor is very important and should be to you if you do PvP. So take a moment to look at the player card, and when you're ready, the music is going to change. We're going to move into the gameplay video showing you what the Destroyer can do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to that. Here we go. And welcome to the gameplay video. So before we get started, let's show you where we're at. We're over here in Balanos, and we're at Kron Castle entrance. And we're here because I love it here. It's nice. Their CP is 2519 and our CP is 4289. So I think he can handle himself. So what we'll do is we'll use our auto path here, and we'll have him fight for about 2 or 3 minutes, show you all his skills that he can, and at that moment I will then go to town, do my outro, and say thank you. So without further ado, I give you the Destroyer. Here we go. We're just about to head back to town here. There we go. So I'd like to take this moment to say thank you. Thank you for enjoying this video. If you like my videos, please subscribe, like, share. Feel free to give me a comment. I'm always making more videos, and there's many more videos to do for you. The goal is always to make this game as easy and fun for you as possible. So let's go ahead and get him positioned in our spot so we could showcase him and highlight him. I'll move the camera around there. And yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so one more time, thank you. Thank you so much for enjoying this video. I hope you liked it. And without further ado, I'll say you have a great night. Take care. Bye now.